Joining me this morning is the new president. Well, maybe not so new. He started in April, but it's the president of the Fitchburg Historical Society. It's Alan. Alan, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you being on the show, and congratulations on the new presidency of the Fitchburg Historical Society. Although a little late, but glad to have you on the show here. So taking over for Catherine.
Yes, she did a wonderful job.
Awesome. So, Alan, your background, we want to start with that first. Your background is in genealogy a little bit. So, kind of talk about just get to know you.
Okay. Well, I'll just talk about my history in Fitchburg. We came in 91, so we've been here 25 years. I have 4 children and my wife. I came here to head a group in forensics at Permega Corporation. My hobbies, I'm just an avid genealogist. I learned that I really had an interest in that when I was a teenager, and my grandmother showed me some stories that her great-great-grandmother had related to some friends, and it was written down. And it talked about the history that she had in early 1800s in the wilderness of Kentucky, and how they lived raising their own food, killing deer and that to live, and how they came out west to Missouri in the 1837s. And although I love genealogy, I also love history. I just don't want to know about who people are, but I want to know how they lived. Why did they go some places? And so that's why I had an interest in the Fitchburg Historical Society.
And now it seems like that's a perfect fit here, I would say. So as you take on the president role here, and kind of what are some of the goals of the Fitchburg Historical Society? And even before that, let's back up. What's your vision of the Fitchburg Historical Society?
Well, we're a rather small historical society. We have 12 members on the board, and several of them are descendants of the early settlers in Fitchburg. They've accumulated a wealth of documents about the early history of Fitchburg, and we have hundreds, if not thousands, of photographs detailing that. How Fitchburg went from a sparsely populated township to this vibrant community that has not only agriculture but high technology, and it's noted for their parks and bike trails and hiking trails. Now, because we are small, we have to have reservations for people to see our information that we've accumulated. And what I've wanted to do is to make our society more accessible to the community and to the nation as a whole. So a couple years ago, before I was even on the board, they started to digitize lists of what they had so that they could be easily searched for. And that continues to the present. Last year, they recruited me as a genealogist, amateur genealogist, but very avid, to go on the board and help them with the genealogist standpoint. And then I've tried to mesh that with the history of Fitchburg. And one of the sayings we have is history is yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So one of my visions is not only to talk about the past and show people what it was like in the 1800s and early 1900s, but actually talk about what is happening now. When we came here, we were surprised that there was no school in Fitchburg. You smile. It's unusual.
Right.
Fitchburg has a larger area than Madison, and the towns of Verona and Oregon have school districts. Well, I found out through the Historical Society that we actually had 6 schools. Where did they go? Why did they go? These are questions I want to have answered and make that available to the community. We also have a large number of subdivisions. How did they develop? came from farms where people sold the farms. Then they had street names. How did they get those street names? And what are they doing now? How do they integrate with Fitchburg? In order to convey our message, we have a Facebook page that does list some topics and some pictures. And we do have 2 talks during the year given by experts and open to the public that talk about Wisconsin and the local area, and they're just fantastic talks. But I wanted to really get us into the modern age and get a website developed so that we could not only have a greater presence in the community, but to make eventually all of our documents available online so that people don't have to wait and search. They could at least know what we have and actually go onto the website and find the information they want. Now, just yesterday, someone asked about a farm that was in the Fitchburg area, and they want to know if we could help them find this farm that was back in the 1930s. That was a pretty easy thing to do, especially for a genealogist. I just went to a plat map of the area and found their farm, and so this person's coming out in September to look where he visited his grandfather back in the 1930s.
Oh, wow. Wow. So there's, again, if you've never been over to the library and have seen, the setup you guys got there, it's pretty impressive, and you guys have done a lot of work. We've run out of time, Alan, but I'm sure we'll have you back on the show here in the future, so I appreciate you stopping by, and as soon as that website gets up, let us know, and we'll keep rah-rahing for you to get people to find you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Alan, congratulations again on the presidency, and I'm sure, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. It's Talking Fitchburg.